who is the one person that if you really want to do business in Cuba, you've got to meet?
Well, his name is Luis Alberto Rodriguez, and he happens to be Raul Castro's son-in-law. And he's sort of the man to go to because he basically controls the largest corporate conglomerate in Cuba right now. It's a conglomerate of over 57 companies, all basically controlled by the military, that feed revenue into the military, and he's the man who's on top of that whole empire. And they also happen to be the company that does the most business with foreign investors up until now, and will probably be in that role in the future. So, yeah, he's the guy you got to go to if you want to do a big deal in Cuba.
What do we know about him? What do we know about Rodriguez?
Well, he's a very low-profile guy. It's really hard even to find a photo of him. It's hard to know exactly what his age is, although I'm pretty sure it's 55. He grew up, he's the son of a general, one of the close generals under Raul Castro, and he grew up inside the military communist elite of Cuba. And he got close to Raul by marrying his daughter about 25 years ago. And since then, he's basically been inside Castro's inner circle on the economic side, first running some of the state companies that the military controls as a number two, and then he took over a few years ago, and ever since Raul took over, his empire has grown dramatically.
Now, Michael, you make the distinction in your story that the kinds of businesses that are permitted for individuals, I think there are about 200 of them that are now permitted. There's small-scale businesses. That's quite different than what you're describing as the business empire of Mr. Rodriguez.
That's correct. Raul Castro has opened up the economy to smaller entrepreneurs, but on a very limited scale. The big money is still in control of the military and through their companies that the military actually basically owns. And Rodriguez is sort of the CEO of that conglomerate of companies. And we're talking about tourism, hotels, marinas, etc. We're talking about massive import-export enterprises that bring in the goods that are sold all across Cuba. We're talking about, the big money, if you will. We're also talking about a huge port that they just built, a big container port in Mariel, which is very close to Florida, and a free trade sort of foreign investment zone there that this entity controls and will decide who gets to do business and who doesn't in Cuba.
Michael, what about investors who might want to in some way participate, let's say, in the new container port, the facilities that are being readied in Mariel?
Well, last year, Castro overhauled the foreign investment law, which is much more investor-friendly, or at least it's designed that way. So they basically have to go through that entity, if you will, and comply with the different regulations there. And in turn, they're given certain incentives like tax breaks and that sort of thing. But there are, there's a cautionary tale here. There's a history in Cuba of foreign investors being hauled off to jail, accused of corruption and other crimes, and basically losing everything they have in Cuba, and that's happened quite frequently. And the problem is that there's not a lot of recourse legally except through the Cuban courts, which don't exactly have a track record of being impartial. So there are risks, at least if you look at what happened in the past. But Cuba is saying that they're trying to make things much more open for investors who are willing to play by the rules of Cuba.